Hello everyone at ninth ICAT and those watching the TechFair videos. My name is GadaKadoda and I am the Barefoot College representative in Sudan. And I'm going to tell you about a project, the Solar Mamas project that actually started at one of the ICAT's conferences. So I met Bankar Roy, the founder of the Barefoot College in India, and I was introduced to him by my good friend, Prof. John Tarakan, and this was in Kigali at the third in ICAT in 2008. He told us about the college, the approach of partnering with the communities for rural solar electrification projects. The community gets engaged from the design of the project and makes decisions throughout the project. The teaching approach is learning by doing, and he described a quiet revolution, in his words, that was happening in many parts of Africa. The college itself is based in Telonia, Rajasthan, in India, and was established in 1986. The way it's managed is managed by the poor, and it is run for the poor. The belief is that it is based on the belief that formal education is not a condition to become an engineer. So the focus is on non-literate and semi-literate women and grandmothers, most that who never really left their village. So there is a different pedagogy where so it's practice versus theory. Some of the paper qualifications that come out of universities, but it's the community who really gives these qualifications when they see electricity coming to their villages. The college is also based on the philosophy of the Mahatma Gandhi, of simple life and work style, and it has been applied the approach has been applied in different states in India and in a number of countries in the least developed part of the world, and it simply works. When he was describing, I was fascinated by how the solar mamas went for training in India, came back and solar electrified their villages. So I asked him to please come to Sudan. And he did, and we worked on doing selection of, and there are various criteria. Basically, the village should be very far from the national grid. There should be acceptance from the village for the project and for sending women. We selected the Nuba Mountains, which at that time was in the middle of Sudan. A very beautiful place, but there aren't any of the services, human rights services, basically, of energy and public services and infrastructure. So it was a good place to start. There was acceptance, and there were local community-based organizations that could be in charge of the implementation, which was also another criteria. And we selected Miri and Aldorot villages to start with, and so the women went to the selected women by their communities. Those were our very first Sudanese barefoot solar mamas, and they went to training in March 2009 and came back in September. So it was a 6 months training in India. So in Hagen, and here you have Asha, and you have Mona and Khadija coming from 2 different villages, but they teamed there. And here they settled into their dorms, and the training started, whereby they were trained in maintaining and in installation of solar equipment. And they also really got the chance to learn other skills, like how to make eco-friendly products like paper bags and toys for children. And they met grandmothers from all over the world coming to that training. So not only were they learning those technical skills, but they were also exposed to other cultures, which enhances their ability. I was actually very fascinated by the fact that none of these women probably speak the language of the other, but they managed to communicate and bond. In the last days, they were taken by the college for one of the wonders of the world, and they became wonders themselves to their communities, who were waiting anxiously at the airport. I remember the day they were arriving. Many of from the two communities came to the airport to welcome them back. There weren't enough seats, even some were on the floor. And here they come, the tears of joy. And from then there was a wait for the solar equipment itself to arrive. They engaged in all kinds of activities, participating in exhibitions, until the equipment arrived in all by different types of transportation, cars, carts, a boat. And they arrived in Miri. They started the work to assemble the equipment. And here Khadija and Muna was, this is Asha. So the community were very curious, and we were learning from them. And that is another aspect of this project, that 13 people from the village, while the solar mamas were fixing the equipment and assembling it, they were actually by the end were helping them out. And they then were ready to distribute it to the community. So each household gets a solar unit, whereby they have two indoor lamps and a lantern for the outside, and the solar panels to collect the energy and distribute it. People were very happy. This was the first time they would have electricity, and they mused about what they could do to at night. So they would farm in the morning and do other from their skills. Like this man, for example, was talking that he can weave at night to increase his earnings. Children were also very happy, saying they can do their homework at night and study. And this was the moment when the electricity really, it's an empowering experience for the women. It's life-changing for them and for me also, as a privileged, educated, university-educated person. I learned a lot from this project. So they empowered themselves. They both changed to the community. And this is Khadija, who said at the TEDx talk that I gave, and they came on the stage and also talked to the audience. And Khadija said, I am not a woman, I am an engineer. So she changed completely, having really done the impossible. After that, we worked on a water harvesting project at Miri Primary School. So there was water and electricity by that time. But there was a lot to celebrate. And there was just... Our next village in this solar electrification was the second village. There were 4 women, 2 solar mamas from each village. So we've done Miri, and we were moving to Aldarot, Beldia. But This is when conflict and displacement. So we halt the whole project halted. The communities were displaced. The local organizations were dismantled, and that was in June 2011. And the project stopped for a while, but then we restarted again in a village north from there called Angarko, and this is Gisma and Bakhita. They went through the same process, arriving in India, um, and gotten through the training from September 2017 to March 2018, and here they are in the Taj Mahal trip. And then in 2020, we sent 6 more from 3 villages. From the 2017 projects, we focused on training rather than on the solar electrification. And because the people are waiting for peace to return to these to their villages. So basically, we are hopeful now because there are some peace agreements happening, and perhaps we will restart and go and continue with the solar electrification part of the project. So the 6 of them went to India earlier this year, and when they came back, they became really famous, and was when we had an interview with the national TV. There was articles about them, and but there is a big dream behind this project. A dream that the valuable projects could start at these conferences, just like this one project. And it's a long walk to freedom. So one of the women was saying, she would like to see a future where Sudanese women are no longer a water tap or a tractor or a mill. Um, and that's the dream, a futuristic look that the solar mamas will finish the solar electrification of their villages, and they will go on to train other women in solar electrification, whereby they become a big movement. And this will start by establishing the Sudan Barefoot College Vocational Training Center, which is currently in the process of fundraising for it. And I want to recall here what Bankar, a quote from the Mahatma Gandhi that Bankar keeps saying, that I have seen also through this project, that they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. So that's where we are going to win, but this is not possible without a lot of support, these kinds of projects. So the success of the project until now depends on really the thanks goes to many people, and the future of this project will also depend on the continued support of the community. Thank you very much.